So this past summer, I was so excited because for the first time since I've become a mom, 8 years, I was going to have 1 week where all 3 children were out of the house for 3 hours each day. I was telling my friends how excited I was. I was posting it on Facebook how excited I was. I had plans to get stuff done. I had a work project for my speaking business. I couldn't wait to get website copy done. I was giddy with excitement. So I'm prepping my 3-year-old because he was the youngest, so I was a little nervous that he was not going to fare well. He had not been in a structured environment up into this point. But I figured his brother and his sister were going to be there. He was going to be enrolled in their preschool program in the fall. So I thought this was going to be fantastic. The first day, I dropped them all off, and while he was a little hesitant, he got with the program, walked right in. There were no tears shed. I skipped out to my car, got home, got working, went to go pick him up 3 hours later. My older 2 were just fine. I got the report from the best and nicest group leader ever, Miss Amy, and she said, well, we had a little trouble. He just really wanted to run to his sister and brother's group, and then he hung on for dear life, and he wouldn't let them go. So could you just tell him that, when we sit, he has to sit, and when I ask him to stop running to his siblings' group, he does have to come with me. I said, absolutely, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. We'll see you tomorrow. So the next morning, I dropped them all off. Again, I skip out to my car, so excited to get back into my office and have the house to myself. Play whatever music I wanted to play and turn it up. I go to pick them up the second day, and I could tell by the group leader's face it did not go very well. Although she was kind and hopeful, she said, he seems to be having some issues, and I was crushed. As she's going through what those issues kind of were and what we could possibly do about it, because believe me, I needed those next few days alone in the house to get some things done, and I did not, bless his heart, want my 3-year-old son with me as I was trying to work that week. Right as I'm talking to Miss Amy about this, the group leader, who's in a rush because he's got almost 120 kids there all getting picked up at the same time, runs by us, points to my son, who's now in my arms, and Miss Amy's rubbing his back and saying, let's just try again tomorrow. We'll try one more time tomorrow because I don't want him to miss out on the fun. The director of Vacation Bible School stops, points at my son in my arms and says, hey, if he cannot listen to the rules, he can't be here. I was mortified, so humiliated and embarrassed. I looked around at all the other kids. They looked like they were doing fine. What was wrong with my little Luke? I did not skip out to my car at that point. I was crushed. We got home. I put all the kids down for a nap. I called my mom. I called one of my best friends. And I was saying, oh my gosh, where have I gone wrong? Clearly, if he was parented better, he would have fared a lot better at Vacation Bible School. Now, what was I to do? Well, as my son got up, and the whole car ride home, I was telling him, you have to sit down. You are not a big boy, and you're not going to be allowed at preschool if you cannot sit when people tell you to sit. Adults know what they're talking about, and you need to listen, just like your brother and sister. Of course, then he goes down for a nap, and after his nap, he sat at the kitchen table. I sat across from him, and I went on a big lecture of what appropriate behavior is for his little 3-year-old self, and I reviewed all the infractions that he did over that 3-hour period that morning. It was hours later I was still disciplining this child. At one point, he looked up at me as I'm describing what he did and what he should be doing, with a huge smile on his face and his big blue bright eyes, all refreshed from a great nap, eating his snack. He said, I know, I'm sorry, Mommy, with a little shrug of the shoulders and a wink with his eyes, and it hit me. This was way more about me and my ego than it was about my son. The reality of it was this. I was humiliated. I was embarrassed because my 3-year-old did not appear to be ready for a structured environment for 3 hours. My friend and my mom said, quit beating yourself up. He's only 3. But my children need to respect authority, right? So I kept going back to, well, I didn't do this right and I didn't parent him correctly. No, that's not what it is. It was all about my ego. So I caught myself. I gave him a huge hug and I didn't say a word about it for the rest of the day. I did, in fact, bring him back the next day to Vacation Bible School, but I told the group leader this. I don't want him to miss out, and I don't want him to think that if he misbehaves, he doesn't have to do anything. I mean, I had to prepare him for preschool in the next couple months, right? But I said, obviously he's not ready for 3 hours, so I'm going to come back in 1 hour and pick him up, and then I'll come back 2 hours later and pick up my other 2. That was not the week I had anticipated nor really wanted. But once I got over myself and I realized God gave me this child for many glorious, wonderful reasons. And I thought about why? What inside me was I dealing with and trying to get over that it became about me and my ego and how proud I was as a parent. And it made me think. I had to really separate myself. He was doing the best he could. And then I think about mothers of teenagers even. How often do we blame ourselves for just a bad decision that a teenager might make because their brain is just not fully developed, right? They're human beings. We do the best we can, as we give as much as we can, but the bottom line is this. Whether we are mildly embarrassed or wildly embarrassed at what our children might do, we do need to take a step back and ask ourselves, is this more about our ego, or is it more just about our child and the stage they're at? Who learned more that week of Vacation Bible School? I did. Until next time, have a great day.